The body is not broken. It's listening. In this episode of Reproductive Rebel, I sit down with Dr. Neja Zupan to explore what happens when the body becomes the healer, not through force, not through fixing, but through frequency, presence, and embodiment. We talk about reclaiming the body's intelligence, healing beyond fear and diagnosis, and what high frequency actually means in the lived flesh. This isn't bypassing. This is embodiment as medicine. Listen now wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Hi, I'm Adrienne Irizarry. I'm an East Asian medicine practitioner who is passionate about women's health and helping women to live their best lives. My goal is to put you in the driver's seat of your health, offering holistic solutions for a symptom-free life. Statements made in this program are for educational purposes only and not intended as a substitution for medical consultation or advice. We do not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure any diseases. This podcast is inclusive and welcomes all gender identities. The focus of the program is on biological function, and we will use the term women throughout, but it is referencing physiological and social challenges for biology, not identity. Come as you are. I am happy you're here and welcome all performances of identity. I hope you find something helpful in this show. Welcome back to another episode of the Reproductive Rebel podcast. I am so overjoyed to be joined today by Dr. Neja Zupan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for this lovely invitation, and I'm looking forward to bring a ton of added value also for your audience.
Oh, I know that you will. I was totally blown away by your story and the incredible gift and career that has come out of your story when we met in the screening call. So for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Neja Zupan, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and sharing with our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I work as global energy master, and I work on multi-dimensional level. So what that means, in my work, I put together all the levels of human being. I'm here for all soul-guided individuals, business people, and help them to, or empower them with their energy and presence so that they become next better version of themselves with grace and ease.
I love that. Don't we all want that? Like, I was fascinated with, and this comes from my background as a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner too. Like, I see the energetic side of health, right? And bringing the body into right relationship. And that was one of the places that I felt like when we talked initially, it was like, oh, this is totally a connecting point. She is my person, because we both very much subscribe to that right relationship aspect. And that's what you're talking about, is bringing all of the pieces into right relationship so that you can be the next best version of yourself.
Indeed, yes. So I work on physical level, emotions, mind, energy, and spiritual level all together. I cannot separate any of this level.
Yep, I agree. And that's how I work with people as well. So we all walk into the careers that we are in with a story. I feel like those of us who have been called to doing this kind of work have walked the road in order to get there. And it's usually through our transformational journey that we start becoming the practitioners that we become. So share a little bit about how you got into the work that you're doing now.
As a child, I really wanted to be a medical doctor, but because I was diagnosed as a child with special needs at the age of 6, I was not able to enter the medical school. But this was actually a God's plan. Because when I started to study at the university, at the same time I started to study different modalities, a lot of modalities in natural healing, psychology, energy healing, so many things. Before, as you asked me what I do, and usually people ask me, how do you do that? What modality you use? I just sense what person needs because I have a list of different modalities that I have studied from this different perspective. For example, mindfulness, nonviolent communication, neurolinguistic programming, so many things, energy medicine, phytotherapy, craniosacrotherapy, many, Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, where we connected very good, with this, and also vibrational treatments. 2 years back, now it's 2 years back, when I went to England to study vibrational treatment. I did already before, but now I connected. It was one like special study where they connected kinesiology with vibrational treatment, with vibrations, how to test with muscles, how to use muscle response to find out what actually in subconscious person needs. So many, many things. And I studied from my age of 16, I started to study all of this, and it's a list of everything. And I just don't differentiate. So I do whatever person needs.
Yes. Yes, I resonate with that deeply. This is where my title of psychoalchemist has come from, is the fact that I meet the person where they're at with the tools that they need. And I've studied multiple modalities also for the same reason, because you'll get so far with someone and then you can tell that they need a little more of something different. And this way I could simplify the process, right? And they could just come to see me and I could meet them with the tools that they needed.
Exactly. But on my way, I was also challenged, I would say, by superior beings, whether I have learned what I have studied. Not just for me, it's not just studying and then performing everything from what I studied, but because I was tested, I was diagnosed with aggressive form, hormonal dependent cancer, ductal cancer. All my female ancestors passed away for cancer, and I was BRCA gene positive, and I had only 5% chances to survive. And of course, because of everything what I saw in my lineage, female lineage, I said, no way that I go with chemicals, that I will put chemicals into myself. No way. So the other option was to use everything what I have learned. Here I am, even more healthy than ever before. So I used everything what I have learned, and I know that this works. So not just for me, because I used these approaches, these modalities, different combination of modalities also for my clients, and even them were completely healed, cured. No, in remission. That's, what is that remission? So that just means that, we are staying at one point. No, it's completely gone. An illness is completely gone. So this was the proof. No matter what somebody says to me, but this was not working, or this is blah, 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 blah. No, it works. It works. It's just the matter of if you want to apply it or not.
Well, and that's a lot of it, right? Like one thing I really learned very early on as a practitioner, and it was painful for me because I went into this work wanting to help people live better lives, healthier lives. I really wanted to, at the very beginning, the less seasoned practitioner in me wanted to save the world. And I wanted to, you know what I mean? And I realized along that journey that there is a choice where either you're going to align yourself with the tools and really make them a part of you and embody them, or you're going to continue to fight it and you're still going to have the same symptoms and things aren't going to change, because that's where like people really underestimate the power of their mind. Because somewhere, whether it's conscious or unconscious, there is something there that either identifies with their illness or, you know what I mean? And so just listening to what you're saying, like what you're talking about is the embodiment of true right relationship in the body.
For me, actually, healing goes deep, profound healing goes beyond mind. Yes, mindset has a huge impact because mind is the biggest enemy of the spirit.
That's the truth.
Yes. And we all came to this world with a specific, like, or task or a plan for our development. So let's say that we are in a school here. So it's a curriculum, what we need to learn.
Yeah.
And one of the curriculum is, of course, mind. One is emotions, not control, but how to use emotions, because emotions are energy in motion.
Yep.
So how to use this energy. And the third is actually this spiritual learning. Sometimes it's not even in the mind something stored, but comes from, I call it karma, from many past lives when we accumulate things and we don't know, our mind doesn't know this anymore, why something was happening or something is happening now, right now, but it's a consequence of something that we did or didn't do in far past our spiritual life. It was 2010 when I was in one very deep meditation. I go really deep in meditations, and usually my teachers appear people that are masters that are not incarnated in this level of earth, material world, but they appear, and I clearly remember, and I still see this man in front of me, exactly how he looked like. And he said to me, Neja, from here on, mind has nothing to do. So we need to go on a spiritual journey, on this releasing energies from much larger field of who actually we are. And not just our field. That's really funny. Not just our field. Could be also field of our ancestors or field of the nation where we live. I clearly remember as well when I was diagnosed with a cancer, and first really deep healing that happened was when the therapist did for me stimulation of lymphatic flow. But this is not like caressing, skin. This is just a superficial layer of lymph flow. It's she stimulated the deep flow of the lymph. And what started to come out was sadness. And I started to cry and cry and cry. And I cried for 4 days.
Wow.
And I didn't have feeling that this is actually my sadness.
Yeah.
It was sadness that was imprinted in my energy field from my ancestors. And I understand our like human being or energy field like a car. And when somebody from outside bumps into us, of course, in the metal of the car, there is curving. So we need to correct this, repair this. It's just the same in the energy field. So from my ancestors, I was quite damaged. My car was hardly moving. And with this particular session, I described this session in my book that is coming out this year. I expect it in late summer. So whoever would like to have this book, it's the title From Tumor to Humor. So I describe it, but I really felt that this was not my sadness. It was the sadness that was imprinted from my past generations, like inherited trauma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I see this a lot with my clients too, and it shows up in physical ways. For you, it was showing up as part of your cancer diagnosis. I see it when people like start to talk about something deeply personal and their voice cuts out, or it gets really like garbled and they have a hard time, like they're trying to get the words out, but they physically are struggling doing it. I had an experience kind of similar where for me, the witch wound was showing up in my pelvis and it physically pained me to sit cross-legged on the floor because my whole left side was so locked up and I needed to release the intergenerational trauma that was stuck in this part of my body. It's actually a really big part of the birth story of this podcast, wildly enough. So it was never safe to be seen and heard. So many of us have that in our family line, and it dates back to the burning times and beyond. So a lot of us carry these imprints intergenerationally, and it's a really beautiful, exhausting, because when you're releasing that kind of energy out of your system, and what you were doing is you were breaking this pattern and healing future generations as well as past, which is so important. And yet it can be really physically as well as emotionally exhausting when you have these really big releases.
Yeah, I completely agree what you just said, and I feel like all this, not just feel, I know that these huge energy transformations are like giving a birth. Yes, we know that birth, yes, usually it's a little painful, but what comes out is so beautiful. So we are giving birth, not just to ourselves, but as you so beautiful said, also more opportunities to reincarnate in a better way for our ancestors and to give a better fundament or background to our future generations. So beautiful. Yes, I completely agree.
I mean, I'm seeing so many people right now that are accepting the challenge, right? And are stepping into the, I can heal this for me, but for the future as well. And with everything that's happening geopolitically right now, it is hard to hold that frequency, right? So it really takes some courage to step onto that path of such deep transformational healing.
And at the same time, the more challenging our outer circumstances, the better can be a result out of it.
Yes,
Because
I agree.
it was 3 days back when one lady came to me for treatment and she complained with many things. And I said, just remember, the diamond is made under the huge pressure. If the pressure is really little, then no diamond is produced. So, because you are under the huge pressure, you are becoming a beautiful, many carats diamond. Then she started to nod. So I always say when some challenging things appear around me, yes, just more. Give me more, give me more, give me more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, this is like speed away or rocket way to new you.
Yeah. Well, and what you were just saying reminds me of something that you said in our screening call that I thought was a very different outlook on a challenging situation. So, one of the things that you had said to me in our screening call was that you learned to love your cancer. And that really stuck with me because, again, going back to the challenges in the world today, right? Like it's hard when you're in a position of fear, when you're in a position of feeling powerless to change that story in your mind, in your body, in your energetic field, all of those kinds of things. So, would you share a little bit more about how you learned to love your cancer?
That actually came naturally for me. Before cancer diagnosis, I already studied more than 25 years of everything, and I had a very good connection with my bosses up there or around me, or invisible ones.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, when I was diagnosed with the cancer in May 2023, no, not 23, 2013. Yeah, 13. It's now 13 years already. This is 13 is the number of love also. So when I was diagnosed, it's always you can hear, I'm battling a disease, I'm battling cancer, I'm battling fibromyalgia, I'm battling this, I'm battling that. But this is a frequency of an aggression. This is not a frequency of peace. It's not even the word peace. If you put your hand before your lips and say peace, you feel that it's a huge, like, pressure under the hand, peace. So the peace actually creates aggression. In India, they use shanti. Shh. It's no aggression, no aggressive force. Or in Slovenian language, we have, I'm from Slovenia. Slovenia is the only country in the world that has love in its name. Love Nia, Slovenia. So we use mir.
Yeah.
Mir. So yes, at the beginning, I started to fight with cancer.
Yeah.
But then again, in one of meditations, I said, okay, Neja, you're not good in fighting. You're a really bad fighter. You're not good in rage, not good in anger. So you will not win this battle because you're bad in this field.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, okay, where are you good at? Love. And I said, okay, then I'm going to love also cancer. And only in 3 months after my complete embodied decision that I'm going to love, the cancer was gone.
And I think that's the key, though, is what you just said about complete embodied love.
Yes.
Now, I think a lot of us will tell, and that's where I was kind of going with the idea that like people get attached to certain diagnoses and like as they start to heal, and this was the mind piece that I was talking about earlier, as they start to heal, if they have become completely enmeshed with their diagnosis, it starts getting really scary as they heal because now they don't know who they are anymore. And that was the part that was really hard for me because I had people who were healing and then they like stopped working with me. And I was like, hold on a second, like we were doing the thing. I even had a couple of people who were like angry and came back to me and were like, you haven't done anything for me and this isn't working. And they like pushed me away. And it was a huge eye-opening experience for me because it showed me that this embodiment piece is so deeply important for this kind of deep life-changing, but energetically and family lineage changing kind of healing to take place because there's an embodied understanding resonance with that choice and the way that you're moving through the world, and not just one that is dictated by the ego brain that sits on your shoulders, which society collectively in the West seems to think that this thing on our shoulders is superior to this very intuitive vessel that we live in. But it's the embodiment.
Exactly. Embodiment of everything. And what you said with identity, this is false identity.
Yes.
This is false because we are in the very core, in the inner essence, we are pure love and we are pure light and we are pure peace inside. All people who fight, they fight because they don't have inner peace, because their mind is fighting against the spirit.
I love that. I'm going to have to remember how you worded that because it's so true. It's so true. And healing doesn't have to be a fight. Actually, it really shouldn't be. Because I think about it from a Chinese medicine standpoint, and like anger and like this action of fighting is a very like unbalanced liver kind of expression. And our heart knowing and moving through the world in a heart-centric kind of way is easy, right? Because you're in a flow state. You're not going against your natural energetic state or movement it's just like when you know something in your body and your body's like, no, don't do that thing. And your brain goes, oh, no, this is a good idea. But your body goes, no, we're not going to do that thing. Like, listen to the body. She never lies to you.
Exactly. Yes. But what I see in this world, we are so much trained to listen only the mind.
Yes.
Entire school system is based on mind training, not listening the body. So what fails in this world is like combination of both. So listening the body, this intuition to your emotions, emotion, what this energy is telling you. And of course, you need to use mind as a tool, not as a master, a tool.
Oh, I like that. The mind as a master and not as a tool. Everybody, if you don't take any quotes away from this, loving the cancer and the mind shouldn't be the master, I think are the two big gems to take away here, because it's totally counter to what we've been socialized to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. From very young age, we are taught that what is in mind, or because I was also the diagnosed, as I said at the beginning, as a child with special needs, I was not talking this that I'm talking now with you and in English. This is quantum leap, not just like light years. I was not talking. I was not functioning in the way that our society would accept it. But this was actually my gift. So whatever society tells you that you are not good enough, It's a really high probability that you are very good in this area.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point too, because what we tell ourselves inside of our mind, it can be our biggest hurdle. Our loudest critic is the one that lives between our ears.
Exactly. Yeah, the biggest critic. Yeah, with me happened this because of this. I was so different of other children. Yes, and exposed to the expectations. It was constantly inside my head. You are not good enough. You are not good enough. You are not good enough. But then actually the cancer story gave me the opposite perspective of what they were telling me, that I was too less or too much or I don't know what, everything in one direction.
Yeah.
That actually I'm a human being who feels a lot. And from feeling, developing this and mastering this, I can bring much more to this world.
Oh, I deeply resonate with this.
Yeah.
I was a deeply feeling child as well. And I still am a deeply feeling person. And I used to find it very exhausting because it was like, well, nobody else experiences their world this way. And it has taken me quite a few years to realize that it's the greatest gift that I've been given, but it's the greatest gift that I can give back to humanity as well.
Exactly.
It is this embodiment of learning how to feel and connect back in again.
Yes. So much agree with this. What you so beautifully put in the words.
So, if you were going to leave our audience with a final thought, because I also want to give you an opportunity to talk about this exciting book that's coming out, what would your final thoughts for our audience be?
I usually suggest to people it costs really nothing, but it brings really a treasure. Start laughing. Yes. Embody happiness and joy. I usually suggest to my clients to put in the middle of the room like imaginary or like real problems, and just imagine that you have in your hands like a huge belt, and you are just not that you want to beat these problems, but you just in the air, you slam in the air with this belt, and then you can imagine that this problem starts to jump and like dance. And when they start to dance and you start to feel better,
Yep.
then solutions appear.
Yes, solutions do appear.
Yeah. And another perspective, as you asked before, how I came to loving the cancer. I have just these little tricks that I do with my mind, because this is everything going on in my mind, because mind is stuck. So just like putting everything in the middle and with the belt slamming in the air, and these problems start to jump and dance. And then you change the perspective because energy changes. It shifts everything. Energy is connected to mind. Certain type of energy causes certain type of mind. And when you start to jump and play with those problems, you shift the energy and problems shift. Solution. Very simple.
I love this. So this is your big takeaway, guys, is creating this energetic shift around things that are challenging. And I think that is one of the best takeaways in the world that we are living in today, for people to work with and begin to shift their frequency. So thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
So in the show notes, we are going to have information about how you can reach Dr. Neja. And we are going to have information to connect up with her soon to come out book, which is really exciting. I know this has been a project you've been working on for quite a while. So make sure you check out her book, check her out. She speaks in a lot of really beautiful places. She sends a lot of really great resources to your inbox if that is something that you are interested in participating with. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing your beautiful story, your wisdom. And I think this is a perspective that we haven't talked nearly enough about on Reproductive Rebel, but is actually a really core tenet in the work that I do. And I know the work that you do around shifting your frequency and how powerful that can be. So thank you again so much for joining us and for sharing your time and your wisdom.
Adrienne, is it possible that I share also one special ebook with your audience? You reminded me shifting energy, and I have very special ebook, 7-step energetic alignment in action. And this is exactly high frequency energy formula.com. You can get it here for transformation of your energy already in the morning. So in the morning, when you really initiate yourself, your energy in your maximum possible capacity of this day, you can reach whatever you want at that day. So you can get this book under highfrequencyenergyformula.com. And there are 7 different practices that really help you already in the morning to set up really high frequency energy.
Oh, I love that. So highfrequencyenergyformula.com. Beautiful. So we will have that link in the show notes. Make sure to check that out. That sounds like an excellent resource. I know I'm going to go download it because that sounds awesome. I love this. And until next time, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Reproductive Rebel. Reproductive Rebel is recorded by certified peri-steam hydrotherapist and acutonics practitioner, herbalist, and Chinese nutritional therapist, Adrienne Irizarry of Moon Essence LLC. If you are interested in setting up an appointment for one-on-one support, ordering from our store, or checking out our course offerings, visit our website at moonessence.life. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and get insider information on upcoming events and offerings. Join the conversation. Like and follow us at MoonEssenceMe on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your voices make this program possible. Thank you all for your continued support.